Hello gamers, welcome back, or in case you're new here, I'm NKZL, and in this video I'm going to talk about a game that is being reimagined. It's called Vindictus Defying Fate. You might have heard of the original, which is a game from 2010 called Vindictus. The original Vindictus is and was an MMORPG, well, at least it was called that back in the day. It is a hub-based MMO from where you head out into dungeon-like areas. We call that light MMOs nowadays. The developers themselves are calling the reimagined game an action RPG with co-op, but it's basically the same experience. You have a few player hub areas and you head out to various locations. The game can be played alone or with other players. Let's talk about the various elements of the game and what you can expect. The most important element is the combat. Let me say this first. I do not believe it will be everyone's cup of tea, but those that like this kind of game will absolutely love it. It's a Souls-like combat with combos and abilities, so a bit different than a typical Souls-like, but still the same basis. Basically, you have left and right click, dodge, jump, and some classes have the ability to block. You can combo these moves like in a fighter game. You also have 5 abilities, 1 conditional ability that activates after certain combos, and 4 others that you can cast at the press of a button. The combat has animations lock like in a Souls-like. I personally really hate animation locks. However, the animations in general are very short, which severely changes the way I experience the combat, and it was actually enjoyable. But it is still a challenging game, at least for me. What I'm trying to say is that even if you don't like the typical Souls-like combat, you shouldn't just disregard this game before trying it. I mentioned classes, and this is something that again will not be everyone's cup of tea because the game is gender locked. Each class comes with its own unique weapon, combo, skills and playstyle. We only got to test 4 of the classes and all of them are melee, but there will be some range classes in the future, hopefully. Each class has a unique appearance which you can edit elements of, such as hairstyle, eye color and various body sliders, for height, muscle mass and for various body parts. And before you ask, I will answer. Yes, this game is not made by Western developers, so the characters actually look very good. And again, yes, there is a boob slider. No Western nonsense to be found here. Each character can be visually customized with different weapons and armors. Each of these armors is split into 5 pieces: head, chest, gloves, legs and boots, and can be freely mixed and matched. Each of these pieces can be further customized by dying from an extremely large amount of options, and each of them has multiple areas that can be customized. The overall customization is great, something that the vast majority of Western developers cannot be bothered with, and it was a pleasure to see that even in an alpha version they have already implemented all these elements at a more than acceptable level. Since we're talking about visuals, I will mention that the game looks pretty good. The mapping of everything is great and so are the textures. The only thing that needs more work is the lighting. It is very basic for now. The game doesn't have any volumetric lighting technologies such as ray tracing. However, this is very typical for this stage of development. Once and if they do implement it, the game will look absolutely gorgeous. An added bonus is that because the game is instance-based and it doesn't need to worry about 1,000 players on screen, the performance is and will be great. Another thing that I want to talk about is the RPG elements, such as the story. It follows a similar plotline to the original, however I think the delivery is considerably better. It's fully voice acted and right from the start the characters are very well fleshed out. They have motives for their actions, the way they behave, and the story felt very immersive. Despite the very short length that we got to experience, I already want to play more. If they continue the same way with the rest of the story, it will be extremely enjoyable. I feel like I should mention monetization as well, which according to their FAQ, it is not decided yet. However, after playing the game, I can say that the game will either be free to play or a one-time purchase with a cosmetic cash shop and a cosmetic battle pass. The resources needed to upgrade your character are obtained from progressing in-game, and I think there is a low likelihood of them being sold in the cash shop, but who knows. That being said, they will 100% milk those cosmetics, which is fine by me. I also have a negative that I want to get off my chest. Something that the game is missing, at least it is missing for now. In the original, you're able to interact with various elements of the environment, even with dead bodies, being able to pick them up and throw them at other elements or even trigger traps with them. You're also able to pick up other stuff like boxes, torches, whatever was available around. This element is missing in this alpha, and I personally hope they add it in the future, because it is one of those things that I thought was really cool in the original title, and when thinking about the game, I still fondly remember that even now, after many years. Speaking of the original game, I want to mention a very endearing element. The game is more or less dead. What remains is a very small, dedicated community. I cannot overstate how small that community is. Currently, it has 156 concurrent players on Steam. I know it has an off-Steam launcher, however the population has been the same for many years now. Most companies would have shut down the game a very, very long time ago. However, not only are they still keeping the game online, but they are still releasing content for it from time to time. I have no idea how the developers behind it managed to convince anyone at Nexon to keep this game alive, but they have, and it is impressive. Personally, I think credit should be given where credit is due, and it is the case here. In conclusion, Vindictus Defying Fate is a game with some potential, an upgrade over the original in most ways. The combat is decent, the game is challenging and absolutely gorgeous. For me, it could be a game I dip my toes into from time to time. I hope they continue developing it, and I most look forward to having some range class to play and to waste hours against some very challenging bosses. I believe this game will be niche, just like the original, and it might not appeal to the masses, however, I hope I'm wrong. If Vindictus Defying Fate sounds like something you would enjoy, you can head over to their Steam page and request access to their alpha test. There is not a lot of content available to test, but it would give you an idea of what kind of game they are making and if you would end up liking it. If you do, you'll have another game to look forward to. That's it for the video. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and comment if you feel like it, or don't. See you in the next one, gamers.